like 10 or 15 minutes walk. And this is the period when the inhabitants of the Balkan Peninsula, including here as well, were the ancient Thracian tribes. The Thracians, they were pretty much the northern neighbors of the ancient Greeks. So here in Sofia we don't have too much left from them in terms of architecture. What we do have left from them is their treasures. There are silverware and goldware treasures that are obviously to be seen in the museums. Romans that came here, conquered the Balkan Peninsula, they built a city where Sofia now is. They called that the city of Serdica. It was a very famous city in the Roman Empire. We are to be seeing some remains from this city during our tour, and I'll tell you more about it. After the Romans, in the 5th, in the 6th, in the 7th century, a waves of newcomers came here to the Balkan Peninsula. They were fighting with the Romans and they managed to settle this area. The two most important for us were the Slavs. That was the first and probably the biggest group. And another tribe we call Bulgarians or Proto-Bulgarians. Those who are nomads, they came from Asia on their forces and they somehow managed to merge with the Slavs into what we call the first Bulgarian medieval state till the late 14th century. In the late 14th century, it was the Ottoman Empire that conquered the Balkan Peninsula. That started the next big period, the Ottoman period. It was 5 centuries long period. Here in Sofia we have some buildings left from that time that we'll see. In the late 19th century we got our independence once more. This happened in result of a war fought between the Russian Empire and the Ottoman Empire. Eventually the Russians defeated the Ottoman Empire and they created independent Bulgarian state. Started our modern state. It was a monarchy at that time. It lasted until the Second World War, when it was replaced by socialist regime. That was obviously the next major shift in our history. The period of socialism lasted for 45 years. And it was finished in 1989, when all these regimes in Eastern Europe collapsed, and well, they were replaced with our current period. We call it the transition period. It's transition from socialism to democracy. And unfortunately this period is still not complete. It's still going on, and on our way I'll be able to give you guys a lot of examples of how that works. Much about the building. You can see the two lion statues in front of the building. The lion, for some reason, is a national symbol of Bulgaria in the ancient city of Serdica. As you may know, the Forum is the most important administrative place in any Roman city, so part of the University of Sofia. The University of Sofia is the first university of Bulgaria. It's also the biggest university. The majority of the churches we are going to see would be Orthodox churches. However, this one is a very famous one, Sveta Nedelja. It's famous with what happened here in the year 1925. 1925, it was during the times of the monarchy. There was a funeral inside this church. A general from the army was assassinated and it was his funeral. It was the king himself. A logical question here would be who are the people behind it? Who are the people responsible for this attack? Also right there, the lion being the national symbol of Bulgaria, also the coat of arms of our capital. On top of it you can see something that looks like a portrait. And I think this is a reference to the Roman fortress, to the Roman city walls, part of which we are going to see. Ended to become a symbol of Sofia. And it's very funny because this statue is actually a mistake. It's a statue of Saint Sofia. Saint Sofia was Italian saint. She lived in the Roman Empire. She had 3 daughters that were prosecuted and killed by the Roman authorities for refusing to give up their Christian faith. Sveta Petka Samardžijska, or Saint Petka of the settlers. This is the only working mosque of Sofia. When the Ottoman Empire came and conquered the city, they turned a lot of churches into mosques. They built a lot of new mosques as well. And the result was that even though Sofia was a relatively small city at that time, we used to have more than 100 mosques. The buildings are very different in height. One seems to be elevated above the other in what looks like no concept whatsoever. Not like that here in the center, but you can see it everywhere. It used to be the public bathhouse of Sofia. The public bathhouses were known in the Roman Empire, back in the Roman Empire. So here we had a public bathhouse in the Roman city of Serdica, but after that, in the medieval times, this tradition was lost, and it came back to Sofia with the Ottomans when they came and conquered the city.
The happy water, mineral water of Sofia. Hot.
Serdica. And this passage right here, this passage right here, use this map over there. I'm going to show you our route so far, so you guys can show how close it is. They were constructed during the socialist period. They were built in the 50s, and so their purpose was to serve the needs of the Bulgarian state and the Bulgarian Communist Party. This building here, it used to be the headquarters of the Bulgarian Communist Party. They might be here for an hour when they replaced the guard tunnel. There is probably the oldest standing building we have in Sofia. Well, or at least one out of two that claim to be the oldest one. We call this the Round Church, Sveti Georgi, or Saint George. We do a very quick stop here because building from the Ottoman period.
Public baths.
This used to be the biggest mosque in the city of Sofia. It was built as a mosque, and it was one during the whole Ottoman period. However, after the liberation, this is the National Bank of Bulgaria, and there is a reason why we stop here and not in front of the building. We stop here because of this balcony over there. Its manager is supposed to throw himself from there, kill himself, and to preserve the honor of the bank. After 5 centuries under the Ottoman Empire, we had no more Bulgarian aristocracy left. Because of this, we had to, well, after the liberation, we had to import a royal dynasty from Europe. So we took a German prince. He was our first king. Apparently he didn't like this palace way too much.
Contrast between the fancy architecture on the right and the communist-inspired architecture on the left.
George and the Dragon. Hagia Sophia.
Unknown warriors, all these Bulgarians that struggled for liberty, that died in the wars in defense of the homeland. It's a very important place for us. We are now in front of the main building of the Sofia University. Sofia University, right now it is the second biggest after Saint Sava in Belgrade. However, unlike the one in Belgrade, this one is finished.